Now before we start moving, let's take a quick look around. This is Crestwood, the largest area we have ever built, bigger than all of Dragon Age 2. This is actually far from the biggest area in Dragon Age Inquisition.
With Crestwood, we've come to an area with a small town, and the region takes its name from that area. It's part of Ferelden, which was relatively untouched by the Blight, and we've come here in large part because this is a place we've already visited. The Inquisition has established its foothold here. We have taken control of an area, and our men are in position. And in response to that, enemies have decided to counterattack. Receiving word that that was coming, we've decided to come here because as Inquisitor, one of our core goals is to lead from the front, to be an inspiration to the people that we protect and the people that serve with us. As we make our way down to the beach, we can see what appear to be warboats in the water. That's a bad sign. We've probably got the enemy already making their landing. Also, we can see the coruscating green wall of energy. That's a symptom of the larger problem facing Ferelden right now. That giant breach in the sky that has ripped open a hole between the veil, a thing that keeps out the demons, is causing anomalies all throughout the world. This breach that we see here is a rift under the water. It's inaccessible to us at this point, but it's something we want to resolve long term. How we do that? Well, I'll leave that to you to find out when we play the game. In Dragon Age Inquisition, there will be a lot of fighting. Conflict is really the heart and soul of the franchise. And coming up ahead of us, of course, we have the enemies making their landing. As we do so, one thing that's very important to note is that combat does not automatically scale when you're out in the explored regions. The enemies there will be as tough as they're going to be, meaning sometimes they'll be far too difficult for you to defeat on first encounter. Other times, you'll be over-leveled for them, which is in fact the case for what we're encountering here. One of our goals with Inquisition is to make sure that you have as much control over your gameplay experience as possible. To that end, we've given you direct control of the camera. Close in with a locked-on camera to make sure you're tracking your target and never lose your focus. Further back allows you to see more of the battlefield and spread your attacks out accordingly. Doesn't sound good.
Your Eminence, the call to defend Crestwood. It wasn't outlaws like we thought. It's Red Templars. They attacked the village to draw us out, and then a larger force assaulted the keep. The old tunnels, Inquisitor. They'll be inside the walls before we can rally.
Above and beyond everything else, the Inquisitor is a leader. These men we see here are our men. They belong to the Inquisition, they've pledged to work with us, and they've fallen under attack, leaving us with a choice. Do we have them stay with the wounded, patch up as many of our troops as possible, possibly raising morale? Do we have them move to defend the village with whoever can still walk? Or do we send them back to the keep, having them focus their efforts on preserving the power base we've already built up? We're going to perceive that as the greater good for this playthrough, so that'll be the choice we select.
Get every able soldier on their feet. I want you defending the keep.
Inquisitor, I... Of course.
Go to the keep. What about Crestwood?
Crestwood needs the Inquisition strong.
Choices, of course, are defined by their consequence, what effect they have on your game. As we'll talk about a little later, sometimes this takes place in terms of content that you might see or might not see. But here you can see a specific example of Varric being quite upset at our decision. The reactions of your followers and their interactions are something that we consider to be the heart of the Dragon Age franchise, and that annoyance on Varric's part is going to come back to haunt us as we play through the game later on.
Right now. In Dragon Age Inquisition, actions speak louder than words. We could climb down there and try to protect Crestwood Village from those attacking forces. But we're going to stick to our previous decision and continue on to the keep to protect it. At this point, in order to avoid more troops, we're actually going to leave the road.
Inquisition will offer the player any number of opportunities. Opportunities for discovery, opportunities to explore off the beaten path, opportunities to find ancient lore, cool treasures, ancient mystical items, or, as we'll see up here, the landing zone for the Red Templars' boats provides us with an opportunity to attack our enemies. As a counterattack, we can use fire that we've brought with us for just this kind of purpose, and use it to destroy the boats, cutting off the retreat and preventing them from getting in our way later on in the course of the game.
Shall we join the fight? The tunnels are more vulnerable.
Taking out their landing boats is an absolutely worthwhile use of our time. And while we can see the rift up ahead is something that we want to deal with in the long term, we can see how time is already ticking down. The Inquisition's keep strength is falling. If we don't do something to prevent that from happening, we still stand a chance to lose it. As Mark said, our actions do speak louder than our words, and it's up to us to make sure that we're moving quickly enough to preserve our holdings. Caves dot the landscape in Inquisition. Any number of dark places for you to explore will require, of course, light, the most valuable ally in these kinds of spaces. This, you can see here, is an example of Veil Fire, a mystical flame that doesn't require any fuel, burns right off the raw essence of magic itself. It's very hard to create, but once you can find it, you can carry it with you in order to explore the dark caves. As an advantage, though, beyond regular flame, it has additional properties, causing magic to react accordingly. And normally we would stop here to investigate these markings and record them for our scholars, but with the keep still under attack, we have better things to do at that time. To this point, we've only controlled the Inquisitor with his two-handed sword. And, well, the characters that would join you in your party will use their abilities to the best of their advantage and try to take out the enemies as quickly as they can. Sometimes direct control, which is something we absolutely allow for every single party member, is what's needed to win the day. In this case, we'll switch to Cassandra. We'll use a rock armor potion, which will cause her to toughen up. And with that extra protection, she'll be able to use her warhorn to taunt the behemoth, get its attention, and then leave it open and focus on her. This is perfect, as she can then use her armor breaking abilities to shatter its protective coating, make it vulnerable to the rest of the party's attacks, and then we'll switch back to the Inquisitor and finish it off using his two-handed. It's important to note a few key things. While certainly being over-leveled can help, bringing the right equipment, using your proper mix of spells, abilities, and of course teamwork can mitigate the damage you'll take. In every combat you can expect to take some damage. And while we can heal, we can absolutely bring out our healing potions to bear, and even use our alchemy system, which is the deepest we've ever explored in Dragon Age, to improve the number, the quantity, and the effectiveness of our healing potions. Ultimately, the thing to note is that health is not recovering after combat, and your potions this is fundamentally how you play Dragon Age, as it requires you to think long-term, rather than thinking of the this group of guys. Our goal with Inquisition is to challenge our players to think about the adventure. From the moment you leave the Inquisition's safe holdings until
like my men have things well in hand. Let's actually head up onto this ridge and take a look around. Now, as you can see, we're barely scratching the surface of this area. This area is vast, and we're just seeing a tiny, tiny part of it. Now, at this point, let's head back to Crestwood Village and assess what's happened while we've been gone. As you can see to the right here, there's actually a cave entrance. Caves riddle the areas in Dragon Age Inquisition. You'll be able to enter them without having a load screen. They're a seamless part of the play. Decisions in Dragon Age Inquisition have a consequence to the world and to your gameplay. Decisions are tough and they have hard-hitting consequences. In many cases, decisions you make will have lasting implications throughout the game.
In fact, there's nothing to be gained by going there now.
Come on, Seeker. Don't you want to see our handiwork?
In some cases, doors will close forever. Slaughtered, Crestwood Village is gone. The story has ended, and your game has changed forever. This was a decision you made, and you have to live with the consequences. Obviously, this is going to have a lasting impact on your relationship with Varric, as well as closing off this area to allow you access. Now, we've shown you how your decisions can have the consequence of closing down access to content. Now let's jump ahead to a later part of the game and show how actions can actually unlock new content.
As you explore Dragon Age Inquisition, you will be visiting all kinds of areas in this world. Sun-scorched deserts, demon-infested bogs, and icy mountaintops. All of this, ultimately, is in pursuit of your larger goal, bringing order to a world descending into chaos. For the next part, we're going to go to the western approach. It's an area far, far to the west. And there, we're going to realize that the Inquisition's influence has...
Dragon Age Inquisition is the biggest game our studio's ever made. The game is created from large and distinct areas, letting you explore much more of the world. This is a game of nations, so we cannot confine you to a single province. All the regions you visit will be of significance to the Inquisition. Each one has a reason for you to go there, and each one is huge and expansive, allowing you countless opportunities for exploration and discovery. The western approach is actually many times the size of Crestwood, but it still does not represent the largest area in Dragon Age Inquisition.
The western approach itself is barren, desolate, but it's not without its secrets. Dotting the landscape, you can see landmarks all around that are signs of the vast empire that once controlled this area. There's also signs of the Warden occupation. After the Second Blight, they built a line of mighty fortresses and watchtowers to hold the area and protect it from the darkspawn that were ravaging the lands. And as we look around, we can see any number of landmarks all around us, and each one of them is one we can reach. For now, our focus will be the green mist you can see on the horizon. A nearby landmark, something for us to check out and see what's happening with it. You can see what appear to be a series of ramps, maybe stairs, something that shows sign of human habitation, which gives us another point of interest we want to explore at some point during our adventures here in the Western Approach. And Inquisition, is absolutely filled with these kinds of locations, and they're places for you to earnestly explore. There won't be quests holding your hand. There won't be characters telling you specifically to go to these locations. Instead, as Inquisitor, it'll be up to you to decide where you and where the Inquisition's focus is going to lie. However, taking party members with you ultimately provides many advantages. They're not just helpful in combat, but they can call out things that they spot in the distance, give you hints at things you might want to explore in your adventures.
There on the cliff face.
Something very, very safe in the environment.
So we find ourselves with a cliff face unavailable for us to explore due to noxious and poisonous gases in the way. And of course, apparently, a dragon patrolling this region. Something for us to be very wary of as we make our way through. If we want to affect those areas, reach them, and counter them, we can do so by establishing the Inquisition's presence in this region. To do that, we're going to have to capture the keep. So let's tackle that now. Ahead of us, you can see the Griffin Wing, the former warden stronghold that's since been captured by a cult who's here, digging in the sands, trying to uncover the secrets that long since been buried. With them in place, we've already started on a long-term campaign to weaken the forces that drawn out the patrols, poison the well, and of course some dispatchers in order to move their reinforcements away, leaving the keep less defended than it otherwise would be. This kind of long-term thinking is vital when it comes to tackling a tough encounter like this. That said, there's a lot of work to be done with short-term as well. For instance, we can look at our equipment and how we're going to gear ourselves up for this fight. And it's very important to note that in Dragon Age Inquisition, you will have direct control over not only your own character, but the armor and the weapons within their class of every member of your party. You can customize their appearance and customize your fighting style, so your party is exactly the one you want to take in battle. For now, we'll go back to our Inquisitor, take a look at how this new sword is going to perform in battle. The flames are always nice, but sometimes we want to think a little bit more outside the moment. We want to have some long-term plans and observe our enemies. And we've really set ourselves a goal with Inquisition to create the most tactical role-playing experience possible, where you have direct control over how it plays. And we know that means sometimes you need to have a different perspective on the battle. With Tactical View, we allow you to have direct control over your friends and your foes while the game is paused, and letting you detach the camera so you can look around the battlefield and observe your foes and build up a long-term strategy. Using this mode, you're able to lay down traps, reposition your allies, and move everyone into position in order to engage your foes, as you can see us doing here. We can lay down a trap, put down a frost left on the trap, at least one of our enemies, if they cross it, and then position our guys in order to ensure that will happen. The best part is, once we've laid out our initial plans, we can then engage with the foes, starting time again, without changing our perspective. And as our plan starts to come together, we can then engage in the next step. Issue some more orders, land down the battle standard with our warrior in order to provide a benefit of inspiration, and then return at any time to real-time gameplay to see those plans carry themselves. Forces somewhat weakened, or with the forces of the enemy somewhat weakened here, provides us a great opportunity. We've dealt with a small encounter here, but of course, it being a fortress, it's well secured. We could make our way around the back, climbing up through the battlements. We could try to find a network of caves underneath to see if there's any bolt holes that we could use to access this fortress. Or we could do what we'll do here, which is to say that we've put the right abilities on Cassandra that she can just rock.
Gate is still open.
potentially setting up an ambush for us. But that gives us an opportunity to look at how the battlefield can change according to the way you play through Dragon Age Inquisition. Here we spot some archers located up there on a rickety bridge, giving us a great opportunity to eliminate them in the battle rather than having to chase them down. We'll freeze at least 2 of these guards here in order to keep them in place, clearing a path for the Inquisitor to go and destroy the bridge. Other enemies require you to think a little bit more about your position. Being in the flank or behind an enemy can give significant advantages, especially when they have an enormous tower shield that's largely impervious to frontal attacks. Find ourselves facing down the enchanter leading these cultists. As a magical unit, he's able to provide powerful combat benefits to his allies and to lay down glyphs that are traps for us, making him a very dangerous opponent indeed. Blair's going to use a mix of both real-time and our tactical view in order to lay out a strategy where ideally we cordon off the enchanter, keeping him isolated and forcing the troops to split their attacks, while we then use Dispel to tear down the enchanter's magical shielding in order to make him an easy target for the rest of the group. Ideally, with him eliminated, we'll then be able to end the combat, well, with something of a bang.
Yllättävän pitkä. Vähän kumma, kun tän piti alkaa mun mielestä puolella. Kello oli vartti ylissä auki. Se vähän hoppi. Mulla oli kyllä haastaa.
Battle over, the keep is ours. Now we can claim it for the Inquisition.
Mikä hienoa, että niitä oikein oli täysin vaihtoehto nämä asioita.
Let's step back for a second. We've captured a keep. What are we going to do with it? Keep capturing represents just one of the ways to influence the world in Dragon Age Inquisition. You will make tough, personal decisions that impact the people important to you. You lead the Inquisition, a powerful organization that is the deciding factor in the balance between the mages and the Templars, in the fate of nations.
Mages for the win.
You decide how to deploy your troops and agents. And these decisions will strengthen you and your Inquisition in different ways. The capturing of keeps is just part of it. You can customize the space of a keep to reflect your playstyle. Do you want something dedicated to espionage and the gathering of secrets? Or connections and commerce, where merchants can gather? Or pure military might? Today we're going to focus on this, a military stronghold. It's your game, and this decision will affect the way that your game plays. Once you control a keep, You can use it as a base of operations to affect the region more fundamentally in ways that are major, visible, and affect your game. Do you want to rebuild an ancient monument, increasing the notoriety and renown of the Inquisition? Or open the West Gate, giving you access to locked off parts of the area? Or do you want to cap vents that are spewing poisonous gases, harvesting the resource for your alchemy, and giving you access to parts of the area that were otherwise inaccessible? You can't do all of them. You have to use your resources wisely. Now, if you remember, we saw a cave before that was blocked by poisonous gases. So if we cap those vents, I think we might just be able to reach them.
The first thing you'll notice as we return to the keep is we've had a fundamental effect not just on its appearance, but who's inside of it. It's now filled to the brim with the Inquisition soldiers.
Eminence, you're secure.
Looking forward to a second chance away from Crestwood.
Some conversations in Inquisition are less pivotal than the choices we faced earlier, offering you any number of opportunities to dig into the lore, to learn more about the environment, and potentially to discover new things you could be tackling or doing, as is the case here. However, in a conversation like this, you still retain absolute control. Instead of having to say goodbye, you can simply walk away.
Carry on.
Of course, Inquisitor.
Supply is agreed, Your Eminence. My debt is paid.
Just let you slouch in the night.
Shut up. No sign of the enemy. They won't be back. Not after the dropping you gave them.
As we leave our safety of our keep and return to the wilds of the deserts, we can start to see the first evidence of the Inquisition's effect on this area. As you saw with what Mark was talking about, the ancient Westgate, the Tevinter strongpoint, has remained untouched. We haven't had the resources necessary to open it just yet, meaning the lands beyond are very hard to access. However, this once poisonous gas-filled crevasse is now capped. We have our men in place for harvesting the resources, and we've opened up a new area for us to explore as part of our adventures.
Watch out!
It seems the dragon is dead set on interfering with our plans, so let's go deal with it. Dragons in Inquisition are one of the last things we're going to talk about today, and they are fundamentally something we've put a ton of work into for the entire team. We want to make sure the dragons are handcrafted and incredibly challenging battles. There are many of them scattered throughout the game. They're all optional, but each one is designed to push you to your limits. The dragons are incredibly mobile and incredibly dangerous. They can fly, destroy terrain, scorch the earth, and each one offers a special and unique challenge for you to overcome.
I do not believe that will be the problem. I'll get its attention. Inquisitor, on your mark.
Vois samanlaiset äänijärjestelmät kotona. Onko haluat väritystä? Vuoden päästä. Ai. En ihmettele vaikka viivästyy siellä 2014 jouluun. Eli on noin aika kauan.
Alright, sellainen oli Dragon Age Inquisition, eikä tosiaan julkaistaan tossa vuoden kuluttua. Ei tarvitse ryntää, tästä on hauska juttu, eli Electronic Arts Suomessa kerää Dragon Age-fanien toiveita, mitkä voi kirjoittaa tällaiseen postikorttiin, joita löytyy tosta lavan laidalta. Ja tuolla EA-standilla, missä on Sims, niin siellä otetaan näitä kortteja vastaan, siellä on myös kyniä. Eli jos te oikeasti haluatte mahdollisuuden päästä vaikuttaa Dragon Age Inquisitioniin, niin ottakaa tällainen lappunen, kirjoittakaa siihen englanniksi terveiset studiolle, mitä toivotte peliin, ja EA sitten kerää ne kaikki kasaan ja lähettää sen sitten tonne tekijästudiolle. Fatsarin sinisiä salmiakin kerran todennäköisesti, eli terveisiä Suomesta. Jos mä nyt jaan, tuossa tosiaan lavan laidalla on näitä kortteja, voitte käydä niitä hakemassa ja muutama minuutin kuluttua jatketaan tässä lavalla Ubisoftin shown merkeissä.